Hey, and welcome back again. Today we are going to be creating a nice plan pricing card. As you can see, we have a nice card here which has a nice border, and the background is a color which stands out. From the beginning, we have the starter text, then the plan price text, then it's four other features, and lastly, a buy now button. So as you can see, it looks very, very nice, and this is what we want to create today. So let's start, but before starting, please like this video to motivate me and subscribe to the channel. So let's dive in. So we're going to start with the HTML file first. We start inside the body element. This is where all visible content on the page will live. The first thing we add is a main wrapper div called package container. This container is going to hold the entire pricing package. Inside the package container, we create a header section. This header is responsible for the plan name and the price. Within the header, we add a paragraph with a class of title. This paragraph displays the plan name, which in this case is starter. Right below the title, we add another div called price container. This element holds the pricing information. Inside it, we place a span for the $sign, the main price value of 24, and another span for the billing period per month. Splitting these into separate elements gives us more control later when styling. After the header section, we move on to the feature list. We wrap this part in a div and then create an unordered list with a class called lists. Each feature is represented by a list item. Each list item starts with a span that contains an SVG icon. This icon is a checkmark and is used to visually indicate included features. Next to the icon, we add a paragraph describing the feature. The first item shows 2 team members. The second item shows 100 plus components. The third item displays 2-month free updates. The fourth item shows lifetime technical support. Once all list items are in place, we move to the final section of the card. We add a div called button container. Inside it, we place a button element with the text buy now. This button will later be styled to stand out as the main call to action. That completes the HTML structure for our pricing card. Now that the HTML structure is in place, we move on to the CSS and start from the top of the style sheet. We begin by styling the body element. First, we set the height to take up the full viewport height. Then we use display flex so we can easily center our content. We justify content to the center horizontally and align items to the center vertically. We remove the default margin by setting it to 0. Finally, we give the page a dark background color so the pricing card stands out against it. Next, we target the package container. We set its display to flex and change the flex direction to column so everything stacks vertically. We round the corners using a border radius. We give it a dark background color and add a subtle border with a light transparent color. Padding is added to create space inside the card. Lastly, we set the text color to white so all text inside is readable on the dark background. After that, we style the header section. We add some margin at the bottom to create space below it. We also add a bottom border to visually separate the header from the rest of the content. Padding is added to the bottom to keep the border from touching the text. We also center all text inside the header. Then we move to the title text. We set the font family to sans serif. We reduce the font size to make it smaller and more subtle. We adjust the line height for better spacing. Finally, we transform the text to uppercase so it looks more like a label. That covers the first part of our CSS styling. We now select the price container. We set the display to flex so the price elements line up horizontally. We justify the content to the center to keep everything aligned in the middle. We add a small gap between items to create spacing between the $sign, the number, and the billing text. The font family is set to sans serif. We increase the font size significantly, so the price becomes the main focal point. We also set the line height to 1 to keep the elements tight vertically. Next, we target the first span inside the price container. This span represents the $sign. We push it down slightly using a top margin so it aligns better with the main number. We reduce the font size compared to the main price and adjust the line height to keep it proportional. Then we style the last span inside the price container. This span contains the per month text. We align it to the bottom using align self so it sits nicely next to the price. Just like the $sign, we reduce the font size and adjust the line height so it does not overpower the main number. After that, we move on to the feature list container. We select the lists class and set it to display flex. We change the flex direction to column so each feature stacks vertically. We also add a small gap between each list item to give them breathing room. And lastly, we move it to the left side by using the margin left minus 40 pixels. Now we target each individual list item. We set the display to flex so the icon and text sit side by side. We align items to the center to vertically center everything. We also add a gap between the icon and the text to keep them from touching. We now target the span inside each list item. This span is used as a circular background for the check icon. We make it fully round by setting the border radius to 50%. We add a thin border with a semi-transparent white color. We also give it a slightly lighter background color so it stands out from the card. The height and width are both set to 30 pixels to create a perfect circle. We use display flex again so we can center the icon inside. We align items to the center and justify content to the center so the SVG sits perfectly in the middle. Next, we style the SVG icon itself. We set its height to 12 pixels so it fits nicely inside the circular span without overflowing. After that, we move on to the paragraph text inside each list item. We set the font family to sans serif to keep it consistent with the rest of the card text. Then we shift our attention to the button container. We add some margin to the top so there is space between the list and the buttons section. We target the button inside the button container. First, we set the width to 100% so the button stretches across the entire card. We give it a white background color so it stands out clearly against the dark card. We add padding on the top and bottom and also on the left and right to make the button comfortable to click. We transform the text to uppercase so it looks bold and intentional. Next, we remove the default border by setting it to 0. We then round the corners of the button using a border radius so it matches the soft look of the card. With that, all of the CSS properties have been applied and the pricing card layout is complete. And that's it for today's tutorial video, friends. If you liked the video, consider liking it and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the new tutorial videos. See you in the next cool session. Have fun.